Whenever I look back at my 28-year-old self, I am forced to confront a stark picture of a poor self-image and low self-esteem. 12 years on, I am still living with the consequences. My name is Aisha. I grew up in a polygamous Muslim home where my mother was the second of 3 wives and I am her firstborn. All the wives and children lived in different apartments within the same compound. My mother became a Christian when we were quite young, so we were raised as Christians. Ours was not a typical polygamous family with infighting and competition between the wives and kids. Even though we each lived with our mothers, we were all close and we all got along. We were 10 children in all, and I was the third of the 10. It was fun growing up with my siblings, even though our father was a strict disciplinarian. I met Dimeji when I was 21. I was in my 3rd year of university at the time, and he had just moved into the area with his mother. He was a year older than me, but he was in his 2nd year. We met during a prolonged ASU strike at a park in the area where people sometimes sat. We struck a conversation and we just got talking. There were no strings attached to our relationship at all, but we became quite close to the extent that we became known to each other's families. When school finally resumed, we continued to keep in touch and saw each other during our holidays. You could say Dimeji was my best friend, but we never took things any further than that. He had a couple of girlfriends in the years when we were friends, and he introduced them to me. I had proposals, but I never really believed in dating just to test waters. I preferred to keep them all as friends until I was sure, and so I never said yes to anyone. After my service year, I decided to start a business doing beauty treatments and professional makeup. It was not so common to do at that time, but I was very clear about what I wanted because I had always had a vision to be a very hands-on mother and wife. When Dimeji finished his service year a year later, he got a job with a bank, and within a few years, he had risen quite well. We were both under pressure from our families to get married. Dimeji's mother had always liked me. She often remarked about how well brought up I was and how I would make a very good wife. Sometimes I would even go to her house to sit with her even when he was not around. I can't say exactly when or how it happened, but somehow Dimeji and I found ourselves railroaded into planning a wedding. There was never a time when he asked me to marry him or even to be his girlfriend. I remember his mom asking to meet my mom, and they became friendly. Next thing I knew, they were talking about being in-laws, and things progressed from there until our wedding date was fixed and plans were underway. About a month to the day, the pastor of our family church invited me to come over to his office. Dimeji and I had our counseling sessions with him, so it was not strange. When I got there, I met Dimeji, and what the pastor said next was very unexpected. Dimeji had told him that he did not want to go ahead with the wedding. The pastor said he would leave us both to discuss it and decide how we wanted to proceed. The minute he stepped out of the office, I started crying. I asked Dimeji why, and he said he did not love me romantically. He really liked me as a friend, and I was a fantastic person, but he did not feel any chemistry. At that point, all I could think about was the disgrace I would face, the embarrassment. I could not even imagine how I would deal with it. Everything was ready for the wedding. I begged him not to do it, and he tried to convince me, but I could tell that he found it difficult to stay resolute, so I pleaded with him until he changed his mind. We called the pastor back in and told him we had decided to go ahead. He prayed for us and wished us the best. When we had our wedding a month later, no one would have known any better. We looked like the happiest couple ever, but things did not go well for us. After the wedding, Dimeji refused to touch me for almost a year. Yes, almost a year. He kept insisting that it was not right because he did not love me that way. I could not tell anyone, but I was frustrated and I took it out on people around me. I remember when he finally agreed to touch me. I had cried so much that day, and I think he felt sorry for me. So he held me, and things progressed from there. After that, it happened a bit more frequently, and I eventually had 3 children in 6 years. But I was the one who always pushed for it. Otherwise, Dimeji would not. After a while, I decided I had had enough of trying to make myself loved, and I started to focus my attention on other things and building other relationships. We have been married for 12 years, and we mostly have a marriage of convenience. What was a close relationship never fully morphed into deep chemistry. I can't explain it, but it does not matter to me anymore. I wish I could go back and talk to my younger self with the benefit of hindsight. She would have never married a man who was honest enough to disclose his lack of affection for her. Rather, she would have been full of gratitude that it happened before the wedding. But I lacked the psychological capacity to do that at the time. I have made up my mind to be happy and to make the best of what I have. My children have a good father who dotes on them. He is a responsible man who provides for his family, and I have great family support from my in-laws too. I can live with this, at least for now, and that is exactly what I am doing. What do you think about Aisha and Dimeji's situation? Do share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to subscribe to my channel and to turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of my videos.